Hey, what's up everyone? Ashley here, and this is Ashley Talks Movies. I have another movie review. This time I'm going to be talking about Halloween Kills, which is the latest film in the Halloween franchise. And this one is a sequel to 2018's Halloween, which was directed by David Gordon Green. David Gordon Green returns for this film, and it picks up right where the last film left off. So in the previous film, we saw Laurie Strode, played by Jamie Lee Curtis. Her and her family had left Michael Myers to die in a burning house. Well, in this film, surprise, surprise, Michael lives, he survives the fire, and he's once again terrorizing the town of Haddonfield. So before I get into the full review of the movie and share my thoughts, a couple things. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Please consider subscribing. Just hit that subscribe button. I would really appreciate it. Also, while you're here, feel free to jump into the comment section and share your thoughts about Halloween Kills, about the Halloween movies in general, or about Michael Myers. I'd love to know what you think. Okay, so on to the review. So Halloween Kills is the second film in what's going to be this Halloween trilogy by David Gordon Green. So he directed 2018's Halloween, he directs Halloween Kills, and then Halloween Ends is going to come out in, I guess, a year or two. He directed that one as well. And in many ways, Halloween Kills feels like the type of movie that you make when you don't quite know what you want to do with the story, but you need to make a movie anyway. Halloween Kills has some things that work, but overall, it's kind of a mess of a film. It tries to do too much and tries to be too much. So the biggest problem with Halloween Kills is the story. It's kind of trying to cobble together too many things. As I said before, it's a movie that tries to do too much, tries to be too much. And you see that with the story. So the story essentially, it picks up right where the last film left off. So Michael Myers has survived, and now he's wreaking havoc again on this town and the people. So the film then decides to focus on the people, the townspeople, and the tragedy that has fallen on them because of Michael Myers. And, you know, some of it works in terms of, I did like that they brought back some characters from the original film and the 1978 film and showed how, you know, these are the survivors, right? They survived Michael Myers. They lived to tell the tale, but they've never really gotten over the trauma. So that was a nice little aspect of it. But the problem with this story is that it spends way too much time in the past, delving in the past, looking back, you know, harping on nostalgia. It felt a lot like fan service in a way, where it was just like so focused on the past, the past, the past. Add that with, okay, now we're back with, you know, Laurie and her family, this, you know, new era of the Halloween movies. And there's not much done there with her character or any of the other characters. And then you also have the social commentary that's thrown on top of it. Combine that with it trying to still be a slasher movie, and it just, there's so much of it that just feels like it's trying to be, it's like cobbled together and it doesn't quite come together. So you add on top of this mess of a story, the fact that the acting is pretty bad. With the exception of Jamie Lee Curtis, who, by the way, isn't really in the film that much. We'll get to that a little bit later. But yeah, the acting is just atrocious. I mean, I'm not expecting Oscar-worthy performances here, but just the delivery of the dialogue and these characters, like the way these actors are portraying these characters, it was cringe-worthy in many parts. It's just so wooden and lifeless. It was just so bad. So bad. They also do this thing in the movie where there's like this mantra that this film has, was like, evil dies tonight, which, okay, I get it. But they say this thing over and over again to the point where my eye was twitching every time they said it. And again, the delivery, the acting is so bad. The delivery of this line just doesn't even feel impactful in any way. It's just like people say it randomly at different parts of the movie, as some sort of like rallying call. Evil dies tonight. Okay. I do want to talk about the characters because honestly, I mean, the biggest problem with this movie is the story. It's just a mess. But it also has a problem with characters in terms of, as I said before, it does focus on some of the original characters from the original film. It brings them back. I didn't really have a problem with that part of it. But I did have a big problem with the fact that you have Jamie Lee Curtis in this movie. Her character, Laurie Strode, is a big part of these films. And she's completely sidelined in this movie. I mean, like, she's barely in this movie. Like, she's there, and all the marketing, all the trailers, you go back and watch the trailers, all the trailers and stuff are centered around her character and Michael Myers, right? But then you watch the movie, and she's not doing much. She says a couple of lines. She has like a big kind of, speech. But that's pretty much it. And it's kind of like, how do you build a whole movie around, this character and her relationship with Michael Myers, and then in this movie you don't use it? I mean, you have Jamie Lee Curtis. I don't know. As far as Michael Myers goes, Michael Myers is definitely, the big draw for this movie, right? He's been terrorizing people for decades at this point, and I think the one thing that this movie does kind of well is that it leans more into the Michael Myers, the terror aspect of Michael Myers, because he's more vicious in this movie. It felt like he's more vicious. The body counts are high. The kills are very bloody and gory in this movie. Almost maybe to the point where they're just it's a little too much. It's mostly focusing on this town and how it's been terrorized, but it does it in such a clumsy kind of way that it doesn't really have a message. Like, I know it was trying to go for the message. Like I said before, it has a social commentary in there. There's this whole thing about like mob mentality. There's this whole thing about, trauma and victims, and all of that, but it doesn't really do anything with it. It'd be interesting to see what happens with Halloween Ends, because like I said, this movie feels like a filler movie. Like, okay, we're gonna do a trilogy of these movies. We have to have a second movie. What's it gonna be about? Well, what if Michael survives and then, he's just terrorizing people and the town fights back? It's like, okay, yeah, let's do that. And then it's this. And it doesn't really work. So those are my thoughts on Halloween Kills. If you've seen the movie and you want to share your thoughts, you can do so in the comment section below. While you're here, like this video, hit that thumbs up button, and don't forget to subscribe to see more videos like this.